Happy Thursday morning, everybody. Hope you're having a great and hopefully dry start to the day as well. It's been very soggy this morning over a large part of northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. We've already seen multiple accidents. In fact, you were just looking at one right there in the northbound lane of Interstate 49. This is going to be near Johnsonville Boulevard. As you can see, it looks like maybe a multiple vehicle accident there, kind of unknown on what exactly went down between all of those vehicles. But you can see a tow truck on site. Obviously, one of the cars has crashed into the shoulder there. And we've seen this all morning long. We've seen several accidents. I would say we've seen about 6 or 7 accidents this morning over northwest Arkansas just over the last couple of hours. And unfortunately, I'm expecting more of the same later on today because more shower and storm activity is going to be pushing towards our weather coverage area. But again, hope everybody made it to work and school safely. This is going to be a short weather live stream because we've got some CTV stuff that's going to be recorded here in the studio within the next 15 minutes or so. I want to respect their time. Also want to respect your time as well because I know a lot of you guys are probably at work or doing some other stuff. So this is going to be a quick weather live stream. Go ahead and ask some questions in the comments, or if you've got anything else that you're wondering about, we'll try to answer that in this live stream. But let's go ahead and get right to it. Take a look at Hyle Heating Cooling Mega Doppler to kick things off here. Obviously, we've seen some very heavy rainfall over portions of Benton and Washington County this morning. That complex of showers and storms starting to push off to the east. I already know a lot of you are probably thinking, all right, rain's done. We're good. Rest of the day is going to be nice and quiet, but obviously that's not going to be the case. There are more showers and storms that are developing over eastern Oklahoma right now, and that will push in later on this morning into the early afternoon hours. And I think there will be another wave of energy coming in during the late afternoon and early evening hours as well. So we've got a lot of things to attend to right now here in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Let's take a closer look here on live Doppler radar. I'm going to show that here on weather one. There's those showers and storms moving very quickly through our area. There's no doubt about it. These are quick moving complexes, but kind of a mess on radar right now. And I've already got some folks asking about severe weather potential. You know, it doesn't look like the severe weather risk is going to be all that great today. It wasn't all that great in the first place, but maybe even less so than what the models were showing yesterday. And that's just because we've got all this cloud coverage that's in place right now. We've got multiple clusters of storms that are developing, and that just limits the instability. That limits your deep layer moisture from making it off to the north. Now, the low-level jet will be kicking in later on this evening. So when that happens, you typically see that increase in the low-level winds. And when that happens, you can see an uptick in severe weather potential. But you also have to have instability in order for that to be realized. And the instability obviously is going to be lacking as long as showers and storms continue to develop out to the west and continue to train over the same areas. So regardless, the main risk has always been the heavy rain threat. I wasn't really impressed with the severe weather potential in the first place, but maybe even less so as we go throughout the rest of the day today, just because of all the shower and storm activity that's expected. And by the way, let me give a shout out to the models because they didn't do a great job. Now, the graph did have quite a bit of shower and storm development for the overnight hours into the early part of this morning. I'll give it a little bit of credit there, but the other high resolution models have struggled quite a bit, which is why they were probably showing more instability than what we're actually going to see from this particular storm system. But there's that complex of showers and storms that I was just talking about in northwest Arkansas. You can still see some moderate rainfall just off to the south and east of Bentonville near the Rogers area. Springdale also seeing a little bit of rain. Heavier rain showers in Madison County right now near Huntsville and Kingston. We also got some moderate rain near Japton, St. Paul, and Witter. A little bit farther to the east towards Jasper and Newton County. Expect some heavy rain within the next 10 minutes or so as that complex continues to sag off to the south and east. Also seeing some moderate rainfall in Harrison along Highway 65 and Highway 412. So, again, none of these storms are severe. We did maybe have a little bit of small hail earlier this morning in southwestern Missouri, but at least in the short term, I think none of these storms are going to reach severe limits, at least during the morning and early afternoon hours, as long as that low-level jet hasn't kicked in. Now, here's the next complex of showers and storms trying to push into northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Again, some heavy rain being reported near Muskogee, Henrietta, Eufaula. River Valley saw kind of a steady lighter rain this morning, but I think we're going to see a little bit more activity in the River Valley within the next hour or so as that complex continues to shift off to the east-northeast. So a lot of things going on, I know, in the weather world right now, a lot to keep up with. I know, again, when we see these lulls, the tendency is to be like, all right, we're good to go. The rain's done. We don't have anything to worry about. But folks, we just have so much energy to attend to. And this is what we talked about yesterday, actually, Dan, Leslie, and Davion. This is what we call Baja Blast energy, right? This is originating from the Baja region of Mexico. So the models, number one, are going to struggle with the amount of energy that we have to work with. And we're also going to probably see maybe more rainfall than what the models are showing as well, which a lot of them were only showing about 1 inch at most for most locations early this morning. I didn't really buy that. We've already seen quite a bit of rain. In fact, we can actually look at the radar estimates right now. So it'll take a little while for this to populate, but I'm sure we've seen at least 1/4 to 1/2 inch in some locations, especially in far northwestern Arkansas already with the storm system. Again, there's going to be multiple waves of energy pushing through the area. Now, the good news is that because we're getting so many lulls in the activity, we're not anticipating this to be a significant flash flooding event, right? We're not going to see widespread flash flooding potential over northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. This is going to be more of what we call isolated to scattered flash flooding, meaning that you really need these storms to train over the same areas in order for any flooding potential to be realized. So I don't really think we're going to see a whole lot of that today here in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley because of the breaks that we're getting in the activity, but still something to watch very closely as we move towards the afternoon hours. I have no idea what's going on with the graphic system right now. You can see it's not even populating anything for the precipitation amount. So we'll move off of that. Maybe it'll show something a little bit later on in this live stream. But here's a look at the setup. You've got this stationary front, which, if you believe the models yesterday, was supposed to be in central Missouri by this point. But I mean, it doesn't have anywhere to go. And this is my best analogy when it comes to a setup like this. All right, just bear with me here. So what we've got here is a stationary front that's draped right across northern Oklahoma into northwest Arkansas and into central portions of the state. So imagine this stationary front as the line of scrimmage, right? The stationary front, it can move north, it can move south, you can lose yardage, you can gain yardage, right? So if it moves north, it's gaining yardage, right? Well, on the other side of this line of scrimmage, we've got the defensive line, the big hog mollies, right? You got 300-pound defensive linemen. They're going to try to stop the offensive line, which is this surge of Gulf moisture to the north, right? So anytime you've got all this rain and shower and storm activity, your defensive line is very stout. And as you can see, we've got a lot of cloud coverage that's located over Missouri, northern Arkansas, even as far north as Illinois and Indiana. So it is very hard for this line of scrimmage to move any farther to the north. As long as that defensive line holds true, that Gulf moisture, which is the offensive line, can't get any push. It can't get any farther to the north. And you typically don't see as much instability. And that's going to be the case later on today, right? It's going to be a struggle for the deeper, low-level moisture to make it into northwest Arkansas. Now, in the River Valley, the front's already pushed through. So there could be a little bit more instability to work with along and south of Interstate 40. But north of that stationary front and really in northwest Arkansas in general, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for any severe weather potential to be realized later on this afternoon into the evening hours. Now, here's a look at our 24-hour precipitation forecast timeline. Again, rain chances kind of ebbing and flowing, as we mentioned yesterday. It's not going to be raining 24/7, but there's going to be these pockets of heavier rain that push towards the area. It does peak at 100% between about 5 to 7 p.m. That's really the main time frame for the main piece of energy to swing through the area. So this is why the rain chances top out at 100% by the time we get to the late afternoon, early evening hours. But obviously those rain chances will taper off a little bit more as we go throughout tomorrow morning into the early afternoon hours. So I can't rule out maybe a small chance for some isolated thunderstorms in northwest Arkansas as we head towards your Friday. Now, future track. What are you showing HRRR? So let's go ahead and compare and contrast. This is a look at the latest high-resolution rapid refresh model. So this is what it says is going on right now over northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Now let's take a look at Mega Doppler. Not very good, in my personal opinion. That complex of showers and storms is a little more stout in eastern Oklahoma than what the model is showing. And obviously, the first complex that we're seeing move through northwest Arkansas is a lot more stout than what the model is showing. So how in the world am I supposed to believe what it tells me is going to happen 3-4 hours from now? It's very hard to believe. And I just don't think the rain is heavy enough, according to this model, during the late morning hours. Now, it does have a surge of energy coming in as you're heading back home from work and school. And I do buy this. This is why rain chances sit at 100% later today. But again, it's just kind of wishy-washy right now. It keeps flip-flopping back and forth in terms of when exactly the heaviest rainfall arrives. So HRRR, as it has been with this system, is not doing the best job. Let's take a look at the graph 3 kilometer, which is another high resolution model that we look at. It's also not doing a very good job with what's going on. Again, this is what the model is showing right now, and this is what's currently happening. Not doing a very good job. So how am I supposed to trust what it's supposed to show later on today? Now, it does have that wave of energy moving in late this morning, but I think it's going to be a little bit stronger than that. So again, I just don't think the models are doing a good job with this system, and that just comes from the Baja Blast energy, right? The models cannot properly dissect what's going on with these pieces of energy that originate from the Baja region in Mexico. So Val, you're asking, is it going to rain as hard with the next storm? I think it could. You're looking at Megadoppler right now, and obviously there is some heavy rain that's pushing through eastern Oklahoma right now, and I think it could rain just as hard with this storm system. Now, maybe not in the same exact locations, right? Obviously, when you have these different pieces of energy swinging through, some locations could get a little bit more than others, but at the end of the day, widespread moderate to heavy rainfall is still possible. So Davion in the chat, Baja Blast. Exactly. I could go for one of those right now, this morning especially. I've been up quite a while this morning, so I'm hoping to get home and get some rest pretty soon. So Katie earlier was asking about the severe weather potential. So let's talk about that, okay? So I just talked about the lack of instability that we will probably see later on today. Now, despite that, we still have a level 1 out of 5 marginal risk of severe weather. I still think there is a low-end chance for 1 or 2 strong thunderstorms. Now, these storms will be capable of producing hail, gusty winds, and a very low tornado threat. Now, here's the deal about the tornado threat, right? We need instability. We need surface-based instability in order for a tornado threat to be realized. So low-level jet will be kicking in later on this evening. And again, the low-level jet is when those low-level winds really start to crank up. And when that happens, right, then you can get a little bit more tilting in the atmosphere, a little bit more of a spin, and that can allow that horizontal spin to become vertical. Now, in order to get a vertical spin, you also need instability at the low levels of the atmosphere. So I think the tornado potential is extremely low. It's not zero, but it's not a threat that is going to it's not a threat that you need to revolve your entire day around, right? We'll watch it very closely. We'll let you know if there's something that's starting to take off, especially late this afternoon to the early evening hours. That'll be the most likely time frame for any severe weather potential. But at this current time, I'm not impressed with the severe weather risk. I'm not too impressed with it. But again, we're not going to let our guard down. We're going to watch it very closely. I'm just letting you know that with the lack of instability, it is going to be tough for us to see, a whole lot of severe weather potential. Having said that, I still think small hail, gusty winds are still possible. We saw a little bit of that early this morning. We'll probably see a little bit more of that with the next piece of energy swinging through the area. So just make sure you're keeping a head on your swivel, and also keeping an eye on the rainfall, right? Because obviously that's our main threat with this storm system. Now, I think the models are a little bit too conservative with the totals. Obviously, we've already seen quite a bit of rain over northwest Arkansas, so this is additional accumulation. But I actually think the European and the NAM model have the best grasp of this system. Notice how most spots are receiving about 1 to 2 inches of rain, but there will be a swath of heavier totals, depending on where exactly those thunderstorms begin to train over the same areas. So that is something we will watch very closely there. That's where the flooding potential will be a little bit greater with this particular setup. So again, models right now, not the best resource to use in order to make a forecast. We're just looking out the window. If we go back to satellite and radar right now, we look at water vapor. We look at that energy that's pushing into the area. You can clearly see we've got plenty more to go here, folks. There's the first complex, right? Already pushing through northwest Arkansas. Here's the next batch of energy moving in. And there's actually your energy originating from the Baja region of Mexico. You can see it right there, swinging off to the north and east. So we got a long ways to go. I think we'll see at least 2 more rounds of heavy rainfall, right? So that next round moving in right now off to our south and west. And then we'll probably see 1 more big push of heavy rain during the late afternoon, early evening hours. That complex will also probably have the best chance to produce any strong storm potential if we see it. But I have some doubts that we even see that over a large part of our weather coverage area. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I got to wrap this up within the next 3 to 4 minutes because, as I mentioned at the beginning, we've got CTV stuff that's being recorded in the morning. So obviously that can sometimes interact with what we're trying to do with our live stream here. But again, just wanted to give you guys a quick update on the latest in terms of the heavy rain threat, severe weather potential as well. Again, we'll be watching it very closely throughout the rest of the day today. While we're still here, let's go ahead and look real quick at what the models are showing for next week. We were talking about that yesterday, the uncertainty when it comes to our storm system for Monday to Tuesday, and the uncertainty in regards to how much cold air we see as we move towards Thanksgiving. So I'm going to pull this up here on Weather One. I'm going to move myself out of the way. So this is the European model. European model shows that piece of energy moving in Monday to Tuesday, and then some colder air trying to spill to the south on Thanksgiving. So that's a lot of cold air moving in, folks, and there's some energy to work with as well. So I tend to believe that the European model is a little bit better than the GFS. It also doesn't swing the piece of energy out too quickly. GFS has a tendency to push these storm systems out a little bit too fast. Now, I want you to notice one thing real quick, though, right? I was just talking about where this first piece of energy is originating from. Look at the system that comes in Monday to Tuesday of next week. Once again, we've got another piece of energy originating from the Baja region of Mexico. So as we move throughout the weekend, as Davion is giving you your forecast, just expect the models to be absolute garbage this weekend as well, because it's not going to be able to pinpoint where exactly those showers and storms develop. And I could go all day long about these long-range models too, especially when it comes to their depiction of precipitation. And we're at that time of year again, folks. I just want to give a little PSA. We're at that time of year again where you're going to see a lot of these social media accounts posting these doomsday model runs when it comes to winter weather, and they don't show you what hour it is, right? They don't give you any context, right? They just say, oh, man, this could be the biggest snowstorm of all time, and then it ends up being the 384-hour GFS or European model, and of course, the next model run, it doesn't show anything, and then they don't post anything because that doesn't, fit the clickbait algorithm. So I'm just giving you a little PSA right now. You're going to be seeing a lot more of those posts from a lot of social media accounts over the next 3 months. Just make sure you're getting your information from trusted sources, right? Whether that be us or some other accounts that you follow that you trust. I'm just letting you know right now, it's that time of year. I call it deception season, where a lot of people are, they're trying to do some deception, right? They're not giving you the full context on the situation. And that's why we're here to try to not give you any hype, to give you a good forecast, one that you could trust, and one that's going to get you ready to start your week or start your day. So that's what we're looking at for next week in terms of the piece of energy. I want to take a look real quick at what the European model is showing for next week as well, and then we'll wrap this baby up. I'm not seeing a whole lot of questions in the comments, so appreciate everybody tuning in this morning. I know a lot of you folks might be at work or might be heading to friends and family's house maybe as well. Just wanted to give you a quick update on what's going on. So here's the European model. Monday, you can see those showers starting to move into our weather coverage area. Tuesday as well, we'll have some rain on the backside of the system. And then as we move towards next week, I think we see another storm system move through around Thanksgiving. Some colder air will be pushing in as well. But I think around Thanksgiving, we could get a little active again. Let's see what the GFS is showing here. Probably has a completely different setup. Now, obviously, because we're very close to the storm system right now, the models are doing a pretty good job. Let's look at this weekend, not showing a whole lot. Then here comes the system Monday. So the GFS a little bit stronger with that piece of energy Monday, but it pushes it out too quickly on Tuesday. I still think we see some rain as we go throughout Tuesday. And then we head into Thanksgiving. It does have a piece of energy trying to push through the area, much weaker than what the European model is showing, obviously, but I wouldn't be surprised next week if we squeeze out a little bit of sleet pellet activity, maybe some flurries. I'm not thinking we're going to see anything significant in terms of winter weather potential, but we definitely will get colder for the latter half of next week, and we may see another storm system push to the area on Thanksgiving. So just something to keep on your radar. I know a lot of folks are going to be traveling as we move throughout much next week. If you're traveling on Monday to Tuesday, expect some rain across a large part of the country. Thanksgiving, maybe we get another piece of energy, but it's too far out to get into specific details. But it just makes sense meteorologically to me that we see at least a little subtle piece of energy that swings through that maybe squeezes out a little bit of moisture in the atmosphere to give us some sleet pellets or some flurries. But we'll keep a close eye on it, let you know about the latest details. Larry, already ready for a white Christmas, Larry? As I mentioned a little bit earlier, right, the models can't even get what's going on right now, right? I would be shook if I saw what the model showed a month out, because I bet there would be doomsday scenario, worst case scenario, and I'm sure some social media accounts are ready to rock and roll when it comes to deceiving people when it comes to those model runs. Watching from soggy Southern Rogers. Well, thank you so much, Will Away, for tuning in, and thank you guys so much for also trusting us with your weather details. Again, if things start getting hairy when it comes to strong storms, we'll be here watching it very closely for you. Again, the main threat's going to be heavy rain. We're about to have another complex move through within the next hour or so. I think we'll see more heavy rain potential right around 5, 6 o'clock this afternoon into the evening hours. So just make sure you're taking it nice and easy as you're heading back home from work and school. For now, folks, have a great rest of your Thursday. Stay dry, and God bless. We'll see you in the next live stream.